We are back for more Puzzle Rush. Did very well last time, got halfway to our goal of 62. Let's jump right into it. I am Phoenix. I am a chess expert and a risk expert and a strategy gamer. I like all things tactical, all things strategic. As you can see, we've just completed a 1900 level puzzle and we are taking on the next 1900 level puzzle. For those that don't know, these come in pairs. 1400, 1400, 1500. Then we skipped one, 16, right? 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18. So we already did 19 and we will continue from there. It looks to me like we are just going to try to win a piece here because we have knight versus a bishop and two rooks for each side. So dangerous pass pawn, yes, but if we can just win this bishop, we will be winning the game. So this pawn has just attacked us, and we are holding a pin on the king, so we don't want to let that go. Now, if we go like this, the bishop can just move away or actually take this pawn, and then I don't think that we have much with this. This is just a draw because there's no other piece for black to continue the attack, so I'm pretty sure it's just going to be we take this, and the rook will take, and we'll take the rook. Or we'll take here, and then this bishop cannot escape. The king might move, and then we take it, and then we go here, check, or something like that. So what we cannot do is back up the queen, and we cannot leave the bishop pin. We must maintain the bishop pin in order to win this game, especially since this knight is hanging. So if we went like here or something, we just lose our knight. So pretty sure we're just going to take it. And by the way, we can't drop back. If you notice, there's a rook there. So we can't drop back, so I think we're just going to go ahead and take this guy. We got that right, and now we're just going to move the queen, but maintain the pin. Just like that. So that's a 2000 level puzzle. So I guess if you are... I guess the game decides that 2000 counts as a 1900 level puzzle. So it must be 1901 to 2000. So we have a hanging rook here, huh? Very strange. So we are down piece. The opponent has a bishop, and we do not. But if we move the queen, we're threatened with this guy. So we probably want to take the rook and then push a pawn, perhaps. Because if that pawn queens were golden. And yeah, definitely we have some attacking ideas with like this, and then the rook comes in too. So we are probably just going to snag a rook and be up material with check. Why would I not want to take material with check? Pretty sure I do. Let's go ahead and do it. Now, I think the thing that makes the most sense is pushing a pawn. I'm not sure why I would want to go here. Because this is a fork, yes. But if we play queen, queen, pawn, I think these two pawns are isolated and weak and can be picked off with something like rook back, rook behind, and then take. Something like that. So I'm pretty sure we just want to go with... Oh, we can't because this pawn is hanging. Huh. The pawn is hanging. So if I do push, we get checked. And actually, that's quite bad. Good thing I didn't rush that. Well, we don't have to move. We do have to stop the queen from coming in here. And we don't want the queen to come in here. So now it looks like that is my only move. And then I guess we're not really in any danger. We are up a bunch of pawns, so we can actually afford to lose some. So that might just be the reason why. I do think we do have to go back in order to stop this and queen here as well. So notice that if the queen comes in, check, rook here, check, and then king goes here, queen check, and queen check again, and then mate. Yeah, that's right. So we do absolutely have to stop that. We can't like push a pawn because we get mated. So once again, that's queen, 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 queen. More or less. There's a rook check here. So it's supported by the bishop in case you didn't notice. I will draw a pretty line for you. So we do have to block that. So I think we are going to go like this. We are correct. Okay, I guess it's just a tough end game that takes a little bit of work, but it still wins. So this is an empty castle formation. We would typically want to maneuver in here, but we don't have another piece to help us. So we need to take advantage of that queen somehow. And it really does look like this rook threat is barely covered, whereas the queen is pinning this pawn. So notice that this is not legal, right? If rook takes, we cannot take with the pawn because of the pin. So we have a bishop that is attacked, and we are down in exchange. We would love to queen this pawn, but we have attacks on that file, so from the queen controlling that square. So I think we're probably just going to play this. And then if rook here, can we just take a queen? No, we just move the queen. Oink. Okay. Well, this looks good to me. What else can we do? We go here. And the rook is almost trapped. We cannot push this pawn, by the way. It's illegal. So here, a rook cannot go to any of these squares. So it would have to go here or here. So it would have to go here or here. And then what? I assume this one is the better one. So then something like here. Yeah, I wish this was a light squared bishop. I wish I could just go right here and then we mate like this. I don't think there's any sort of sacrifice that makes any sense because... Because when the king takes back, there's no queening available. If there were, that would be the winning idea. We could take and queen, that would be fine, but there's a queen there. So it makes me think I want to go like this, and then the queen has to hold that promotion square. But I'm not seeing much of a follow-up after that. Because, it's a tough one, I think. So let's look for targets. There's a target right there. There's a target right there. So that draws my eye to this diagonal, and maybe we want to go here. And that attacks the queen. But then, oh, okay. But rook check is not possible. Check here. That attacks this pawn 3 times, actually, and then the rook can actually be threatened. So we'd have to go here, and then the rook can pin me. Oh, I should mention that the pawn cannot take because of this mate in the back. So if I go here, and what if the queen just takes that? Then I can promote to queen. Right? And then if rook takes, I just move. That looks okay. Bishop, queen, promote. Rather, bishop, queen, promote. Take, and we're fine. Well, material is actually even there. We need to do better than just winning a rook for a bishop. If we win a rook for a bishop, we don't have an advantage. If queen takes it, we take. Now they're down a queen, they must take. We trade rooks, then we promote. So it's like that. Okay, I think I found it. And that starts with recognizing that your pattern recognition is failing because your patterns are wrong, right? This is the pattern that comes to mind. And then saying, okay, fine, back to basics. What are the 2 targets? Well, the queen is undefended, so that makes it a target. And then the king is always a target because if you capture it, you win. So you find the targets first, and then you trace lines that connect 2 targets, 2 or more targets, like this. And then you say, how do I put pieces there? And well, now that presents itself. So I think this is correct. I still don't know that it's correct, but we know you can't take because I trade everything. Trade queens, I trade rooks and promote. Well, the only other thing that can happen here is the queen moves and like somewhere, say here. In which case I just promote the pawn because she left control of the queening square. So the really critical line is something like this. And then I think I can just attack that square, right? Bishop takes it. And then other things can happen too. I can, oh yeah, and then I can take a rook probably. Or promote. Yeah, take a rook and... Oh, I can also play bishop here. Okay, I think I'm going to play it anyway. Correct. Yay! Let's take a look at that real quick. I want to take a look at the analysis board here. What if just queen back here? What's the best move now? Mate in 5. So it is rook takes. That makes sense because we're threatening a double check. And actually we can do even better and go here. Check. So you'd have to take that. And then we already saw what happens here. We could take this way, and either way works. This is the fastest. And then we'll play something like queen d4 check. Yeah, he has to throw away the queen to stop mate, because we're going to threaten check and mate. Because it's double check. And we're also threatening this mate, and we're also threatening this mate, and we're also threatening to promote. So, very good. Let's continue. That's 39, everybody. I am happy you are here. If you are happy you are here, hit the like button, please. Take the time to do it. It's right below the video. What that does, I've noticed that every time I get a like, I get shown to 1,000 more people, and then some of them click on it, and then they hit like, and we keep it going. So I'm pretty sure we're just going to take here. We are actually up material. We have an extra... No, we're not. We're down a knight. I thought we had a rook for a knight, but we don't. We each have 2 rooks and a queen and a bishop. But they have a knight, so we do have to win the knight. So I think I can go check here, check here, and then I can go... I can't go check here on account of the queen reaching back and controlling this square as a coordination. So I think I have to go this way, check. And then I pick up the rook. And in fact, I probably even have better. Can I go check and take, and then maybe even this rook check? And if the king goes here, I go check and its mate in one of the 2 directions. And yeah, okay. Here, here, and then maybe this check is the idea on account of the queen and the rook controlling 2 ranks like that. So then the king would have to go to the back rank, and I'm pretty sure any method runs into mate because we always have a check here or a check here or a check even here. So I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and play it. Oh no, we missed it. Okay, we should have been a little bit more disciplined in that one. Surprising. Let's take a look at the answer. Let's try it again, actually. Can I take care first? No, that's silly. Can I go take that guy? No, also silly. Is it something like here? I don't think so. Huh. Okay, give me a hint. It is that rook move, but it's not the knight sack? Really? Oh, my. Oh, my. Silly. You got to find those. Mate in 2. No excuses. Let's continue. That's our first red X, everybody, in the 2100s. Usually, I like to say that at about 30, I have to start thinking, and then at 40, I have to start thinking hard. So 39, that would be our 40th. So we're right on target for where we've always been. I'd like to think I'm getting better at this, but maybe it's just the same. No, that's not true. I can feel that I've gotten better. I know that I have. I know that I have because things come to me a lot easier, and I remember patterns from previous games that I have played, or puzzles that I have played in previous runs, and they're sticking in my head permanently. So how about if we just take your check? King has to go there. And it looks like a free rook. The material is even. This must be hard, right? There must be a difficult follow-up. I don't like the fact that this pin is here and this bishop can't move anywhere. How about if we don't take the rook on account of they take my king? Yes, yes, yes. It's probably a good idea to start with getting out of check, right? I mean, giving up your king is a bad typically a bad sacrifice. So our rook and our bishop are hanging, but it can't be taken with the queen because we just take it. So it would be taken with the pawn, and then we would check probably. And then this comes up, and so I think we have to go here, here, and can we block with the rook? Let me take a minute to think about. There's also, of course, those 4 options. Okay, I think I have it because nothing else worked. All the things I wanted to play don't work. So, okay, king moves first. These moves, I don't think they work on account of the fact that they undefend the queen. And if they undefend the queen, what can happen is queen takes rook, and this bishop is pinned. So this doesn't work because immediately we lose a queen with check. And the difference is, yeah, black lost a queen, white lost a queen, but black took a rook. So black is just winning. By the way, I should note that in any endgame, unless we're winning like a piece or checkmating, this pawn will just win the game. So we do have to kind of keep the king around there somehow if we're not going to just mate immediately. So the other idea is rook here. So I should say that's how I reject basically all of these moves. King up the board just seems like asking for trouble here for a number of reasons. We could even go like here and then here. Oh, sorry, here, check. I mean, it just feels wrong. I don't think that's a serious try. Not to mention, our bishop is always hanging. So why am I going to run my king into danger, pin my bishop, lose a bishop, and then have this rook threatened? None of that it seems to be a good idea. So that's all of these wrong. And so we only have 2 more legal options. It's check, which check is pretty good. And then we can block with the rook. So here's my issue with blocking with the rook. Same as before. We can just, basically the queen can just take it almost at any point. Here, loses the bishop, right? Now I have to get the piece back. So you think, oh, okay, let's pin the queen. Again, we have the same issue, is queen can take rook. And we've lost the bishop. This bishop is still pinned. So therefore, our rook here is still undefended. I mean, black will win the queen right back. So this doesn't seem to work. Now, the other idea I thought was rook, queen, pin it with this rook, but it's still the same idea. It's just a different rook. Queen will just take that guy. And then the bishop is still yet again pinned. So take. So the lesson here really is that this bishop doesn't really defend rooks on account of it costing white the white queen. So the only other idea is a very typical overworked king here, which would be here, here, and then queen pins it. Forget about the fact that the rook is hanging. This is a very simple tactic. Black takes the queen, king, and then takes this bishop, or even the reverse order. Takes the bishop first, and then the queen will hang. So none of those work. So the only thing left is check, and check is pretty good. But what happens after we lose our rook, like I said? So I think it's bishop takes the queen, they take ours, we take back, and that's when I kind of realized that we have more targets in the position than I thought, which is this knight. So we have the king and the knight, and that's pretty much it. The knight is a target because it's undefended. And the rook will become a target if black trade does the whole weird queen trade, like take a rook, take a queen, lose a rook, lose a queen. So I think it's this, and then at the end of all of those exchanges, which are even exchanges, you have this problem. What I haven't solved is rook doesn't want to go here to defend the knight because there will be a bishop here. So what if rook goes here? And that I just don't know. I haven't been able to solve that. I guess it's just something like check. But it seems like it's working, but then the king goes here. And I'm not sure. There must be like some other checkmate or something, some other idea there. So from the top, I think it's bishop, queen, bishop, rook, king, rook, bishop check. King here, rook check. Oh my god, that's mating. How did I not see that? There's actually, after that rook check, there's nowhere to go. Oh, man, because there's a bishop controlling this square. The rook controls this square, and the pawn, of course, controls this square. Wow. I got the right answer, and then I just didn't even realize that the game is actually over. They'd block with the bishop. We'd take it. We're up a bunch of material. Mate is still to follow. There's a discover check coming, etc. So actually, yeah. Okay, fine. I guess I'll finish it off there. Bishop blocks. Rook takes. Rook takes right here. And then king has to go over, but can't. So king has to go here, and then we have a discover check of like rook here or something like that. Powerful idea here. We can actually instead take with the bishop, and then I think the next move would be mate. So let's try that. This looks good to me. Trade everything. So take a queen, lose a queen. Take a rook. That was it. Okay. Cool. I was stuck for a long time on what to do right here. And it looks like it is, okay, it's anything really. Bishop check. And turns out this is the only legal move. And I got to this idea. It took me a while to find this. In fact, I think I maybe only saw it when I was explaining it to you guys. So what happens if bishop here? We just trade off defenders, right? Yeah. And this is a threat. So is this. Discover check, attacks a rook. Okay. Huh. I found that kind of by stumbling into it. That was like process of elimination. It took me a while. I was on pause for like 3-4 minutes. It was actually I found that to be quite difficult. So let's hope that we get like a really good puzzle out of this one, a 2200 level puzzle. So we're at 40. 40 is where things start to get very interesting, I think. They start to get fancy and beautiful. So how about check, king only move, mate? What the? Well, how is this? How do you mess this up? Do people take the rook? So when you get a high level puzzle that seems to be very easy, the trick is finding the like siren song move, the thing that draws people in that they play that's incorrect. Because if it were obvious, everybody would play it. So I think this is what people play and they mess it up. And I think that this is just mate. Like, how is this not a mate? I'm not in check or anything. So then here and then mate. How is this difficult? I'm not seeing a trick or something, so. Free puzzle. They give me a really, really hard one, then get a free puzzle. 41. I guess people take the rook because they play like 1 minute or, something like that. They play a 3-minute survival. So they have to move super quick, and then they just don't succeed. Okay. This is a common idea of trying to promote your pawn with a rook interfering with you. So I think we may want to go check. And then pawn blocks. No, sorry, pawn's going the other way. So it can't block. So here. And then maybe we get behind the pawn. Yeah, what if we go here? And then that rook has to be stopped somehow. I see. So the general idea of what you want to do in this position to win it, which is fairly even from the looks of it, but is one of the sides is actually winning, us. What you want to do is try to give up your rook for the opposing pawn, queen yours safely, and then be able to win the queen versus rook endgame. Now the computer is going to give us credit for that very difficult endgame. So what we really have to do is just get to the queen versus rook. So there's a technique for doing that. Right here, check. And the king has to go like this way in certain circumstances, then check, and that's a skewer. So you could lose your pawn that way. So for example, here, how does white stop the pawn from queening? Check, back, take the pawn. So there's another idea of just get behind the pawn. In fact, I think we would wait a move. So it would be check, back, and not taking the pawn right away. So what does black have in this position? It has the exposed white king. So we can do the same thing. Check, check, take. but we don't have to do that right now. And then we also have the ability to do a file cut. File cut's when you interfere along on a square along a file, stop a rook from attacking that file. So we go check, king goes up, and then we push a pawn. And now notice that this square is covered by that pawn. So we're threatening to queen it. This time, if check, we can block with the rook. Now we have the ability to queen the pawn on the next move. If the rook comes back to defend that, we actually can just break that line with the rook. And this is what I mean by the file cut. So I'm pretty sure it's here, and we just use the rook to defend that pawn. So we're going to go check. We're going to push the pawn, and then there's no way for white to stop us from queening it. Now, there is another tactic you need to know, which is that if you ever queen a knight pawn and your king is on the rook file, check, check does just win the queen. So we have to be careful about that. But I think we're just going to go ahead and do it because this looks so clear and obvious of just basic technique. Now, I do think it is this, then the pawn on the very next move. And then if they go here, we go here. And if they go here, we go here. At any point. So they're like corresponding squares. So how does that look? It looks okay to me. In fact, I don't think we even need to block with the rook. We can actually just slide our king over. The rook's presence is enough to protect that king. So what if we get check, and then here, and then here, and then it's not their move, it's our move. We push the pawn. They go here to block it. We block. They take, we take, they push, we queen, they push again, and we go check, picking up the pawn. Not bad. Not bad. I think I have it. We're going to play it. Yep. Push the pawn next, right? The reason we have to push the pawn is because we need to take control of this square while maintaining control of these squares. So, okay. Now, so this check, I think, could have been answered in multiple ways. So we're going to use the whole reason the rook was there. Yep. They had a rook fork coming. That's 42 puzzles. That's a 2200 level puzzle. Not bad. We only have one red X. So not doing too poorly here. Okay. Count the material. 2 rooks, 3 minors, and a queen. Everybody's pawns are on the board. The only thing missing is the light squared bishop for black and a knight. So I'm going to guess the moves were just h3, take, and take. So what can we do here? We can go here, here, check. What are targets? Here, here, and there. Those are the targets in here because they're undefended. So how do we attack any of those targets? I'm not seeing a whole lot of ways. We can go like this to attack the 2 back targets. And we could go like this to attack these 2 targets, or we could go like this or like this. But those all seem very, very silly ideas because like if we could go pawn up, yeah, that would be great, but we cannot do that. So we're not going to. We also have a rook staring at a queen, and we have this targeting pawn. So maybe we go like this, lose that, then go here attacking the rook. The rook would go like here. And then do we have any sort of like punch out there? I don't think so. It's just a meaningless discovered check, I believe. So how can we continue and attack? We could go like here, and then this is probably what I would play in a game. Queen has to defend the bishop at that point because there's a knight forking queen and bishop. But it doesn't seem like that really is the idea of a tactical combination. So it must be something else. How about if we go queen here? You know what I'd really love would be a bishop right here. And then all of a sudden you notice the queen is trapped. So let's go ahead. Man, I'd love it actually a bishop here. Just take, check. So how do we take advantage of that misplaced queen? What if we went like this? Attacking a queen. Where can the queen go? It can go here. It can go... You can go back again. That seems off. Okay, I think I'm going to have to come up with some more ideas here. Okay, I do find it, I think. So yeah, I think basically I hit pause and then looked away and looked back at the puzzle and pretty sure I see it. I don't know how I didn't see that. Remember I told you these were all targets? I think I failed to realize that this was a target right away. And so actually we do have the clear way to attack 2 targets. So the idea is knight, queen, bishop pins it. And if knight pawn here, then we just move. Oh, we just take that with the bishop too. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It attacks 2 targets. That's all you really need to do with these things. So silly that I didn't see that a lot faster. Do we just take our prize? I think so. Yeah. Yep. Okay. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought. Check, here, mate. Can't do anything about that. I could also go here, threatening mate right away. Ah, this is maybe actually an illusion. If I go check, king, threaten mate, there's actually because they vacated this square, they have the ability to go and defend it. So I actually think it's a here right away, threatening the mate. And now there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, wow. So that's actually false. That's that's the siren move right there. I would have thought white would still be winning in that position, but probably not. So now here, and I don't see anything you can do to stop mate, right? Okay, so practical advice. If you think you have mate, take your time and figure it out. Just look at every single legal move. So the queen moves, any of these moves don't matter because they have nothing to do with checkmate. So that's the queen moving. This pawn move, rook move don't matter. So the only thing that really would stop mate would be rook in the way, and then we just take that. And same problem. It's mate right here. What if pawn move? That's still mate. Pawn move, that's still mate. Pawn move, that's still mate. King, king, mate. This is illegal. So can't do that. So everything is mate. I think we just go here. Yep. That was easy. Everything was mate. What made that one any sort of special difficulty was the fact that there was another check you could have thrown in first, and that would have been the wrong idea. So we have here, we have a check which covers the flight square. So material is even. If we trade everything, black wins due to the outside pass pawn. So we just need to trade everything. So we could, I would love it, in fact, if I could go rook here. That would be mate. The only problem is there's a bishop there. So that doesn't quite work. Now I have 2 checks here and a follow-up check along this file. So I think the king is going to run this direction. So we should probably stop it from doing that by going knight check. And then these are all illegal. So the only legal move is here. And then we go knight check, and then we fork the rook. So, okay, playing it. It was actually the first move that came to mind just because I think I have a habit of covering the flight square. So now maybe we can even go like this, but I don't think so. I think we're just going to win a rook. Yep, that was easy. Okay. Oh boy, what do we have? We have checks, but we can't because it's pinned. Okay, so we're getting threatened with 2 different ideas. So if we play lazily, we'll get queen check, and then this move is mate. So they have to go up the board, in which case we get checked again, and then we go up the board, and then this is a check, and then we have to go up the board, and then that's check, and so forth. So we don't really have to calculate it because we're running like losing a piece and getting your king attacked by a queen and rook is a bad idea. So let's not do that. So this presents itself, king, queen checkmate. That's easy to see. This is what I call a ladder, like a step ladder. There's a mate formation. I'll just tell you real quick. I want you to imagine there's rook here, queen here, and it's just open files, right? And the king is in the middle. What you can do is go queen, and the only legal move, because the side files are blocked, so queen is king here. In which case, that queen connects to the next light square. So you go rook check, king here, queen check, king here, rook check, king here. And as you see, the king just keeps going like this until it can't. Meanwhile, it goes queen, rook, queen, rook, queen, rook, queen, mate. All on light squares. It's a very nice pattern. It looks like walking up a ladder. Left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. So that's how I found this. Okay, that's mate, because they'd be retreating this direction and it's blocked. So let's go with other legal moves. Check. This is mate. We know that. Illegal, illegal, illegal because there's a queen there. That's illegal and that's illegal. So the only, and that one is too. So we know that's mate. So let's get rid of that. So this is the only legal move. The check here, probably just check right here, right? Oh, we could pick up a rook, but that's winning material is probably dangerous. Huh. I don't really like this check here on account of the knight blocking. So that's a problem because when a king is next to a knight like that, there's no checks from the queen. Right? This is even, forget about the pawn. The knight was covering that square too. Same here, knight covers that one. So there aren't any checks available. So I don't think that that is the right answer here. We can't move the knight. I would love to go like this, but it's illegal, pinned. So maybe this is not correct, unless there's some other idea here. But none of these checks work. This one is okay. If the knight blocks, we can come here, check. And that could be the answer. Notice that if the king goes to the back rank, we can take the rook with check. So maybe that is correct. But let's try other moves first. This check doesn't work, and because there's a knight there. And we only have this one that makes any practical sense. So let's try that. King here. And then we probably have to play queen, and then king goes back, and then check, and then here, and we have the same issue. So I hate that. Queen here, just maybe this way, check. Lose a rook. Nah, that seems silly. Let's not lose our rook. What if check here, rook? Here, there's no way for me to just knight move it. So that doesn't seem like that works either. Check here, check. Back again. Do we have something better? Not really. Rook check, same problems. So I bet you it is this. And then this check. And then knight blocks. And then we don't take a rook, but we actually go check first. Then what happens? Nothing can block except the knight can give himself up. So he's not going to do that. So the king goes to the back rank probably. And then is there a way I can just like go mate? No. Check there. Check. King here. Almost. It's almost mate. Almost. I do think we have the first correct move though. Is this going to be a red X? I think it very well could be. Nope. Okay. Well, we already knew that was going to happen. This check here is illegal. So we probably want to go this check here. I think checking from afar is the right way to go. And then I do think it's probably just the first thing we discussed, taking a rook with check. Seems to be good to me. And I think that's okay. Ugh. Let's try it again. Okay, I don't see anything here. Duh. That sucks. That sucks. Losing discipline? Is that what this is? Is that how we're failing to complete these puzzles? Just lack of thinking through all the possibilities? Maybe. So 45, we got 2 wrong now. This is going to be my last one, I think. So material is even. And the targets are here. It's attacked and defended once. The king, because king is always a target. This pawn, it's attacked and defended 1 time. And then that appears to be it. Everything else is defended. Well defended. Ah. This is a target? No, not really. Okay. So probably those things. We can throw away a rook and go here. That is definitely presenting itself. This bishop would then be hanging and targeted, but so would this knight. That knight would be attacked twice. And we also have checks here available. So decent idea. This would be here, but I mean, giving up a whole rook seems to be a wrong idea. I don't really like that plan at all. So what if we go check? And then I guess the king would take that, of course, and then check doesn't do anything, so that's silly. And what if we go here, check? That would be nice, but multiple problems with that, including this one, this one, this one. So can we go check, draw the king out, and then check here? Then the king goes here or something? Actually, if the king goes here, we have queen check here and mate. Aha. So we like that. We like finding mates because it really leads you toward a conclusion. Now we just have to basically make a way to force that to happen. Let's try it again. Rook check. Accept it. Check. What are legal options? This is legal. This is legal. This is legal. There is a fork right here, so it's a lot of options to cover. And then this one too. So it looks like we know this is bad because that's mating. So we're going to take that square away. I think if king goes back here, we probably can develop another rook. No, this hangs. That's the better one there. Okay, so here is here. Queen there, that is. Here and there, queen. What if king goes here? We have something there. Probably another check or something like that. And I think king back is probably the critical line. Where are we going there? Gonna think about this one. Now, if you watched episode 1, you will have heard me talk about how simple patterns come up later. And I like this idea of taking here. Now we're threatening a bishop. So let's just defend it with like a rook or something like that. And then we go bishop check. And what do we have from the first video? We have a crisscross, crisscross formation. So that would actually drive the king here and then, or to here, in which case we still have follow-up attacks with like queen check and things like that. So now it's getting quite dangerous for the white king. So we also would have this idea, attacking things. I am really liking this idea of rook, queen. We get 2 pawns. We get another one. We're healthy. We can also check the king away and take a knight to get our material back. I'm liking all of those ideas here, really. I just haven't quite put all the moves together yet. So let's see what we can do. Okay. I don't know. I thought about it for about 3 minutes. I don't actually know what the answer is. I just feel like it's some combination of attacking these targets because they're the only targets in the position. I know it's going to be check. It's going to be check. It's going to be check. I just don't know the exact order of it. So we're going to go ahead and do it. I feel like taking 2 pawns and threatening one of these guys plus this guy is probably winning. So when the queen is on g3, it does a couple things. It stops the king from coming back to f2, which, as we just discussed in a couple puzzles ago with a knight fork, you want to cut off the squares where the king can retreat to. So you want to drive him in like one direction. So let's go rook here, king, queen, and that threatens a few things. That threatens this bishop is attacking it. That double attacks the knight with queen and bishop, and this attacks a hanging piece. So all those things can't be defended. We're going to play this and this as well, and that's got to be winning. So I don't exactly know like why, but it's some combination of those things. Okay, so this is hanging. I was expecting rook g1 to hold this and this, because I don't really see the follow-up. I just assumed it was like rook check or bishop check. I wasn't quite sure, but this appears to be hanging. So you were supposed to defend that. What does this do? Check. King here. Then I still don't have the dang bishop. I just want the bishop right there. All right. I think we're just going to take the piece and be up a piece. We're still down a rook, though. I guess we just take. And then they have to defend the rook. And then we attack their queen? I don't know. All right, let's start by winning material. Because you do have to reply to that. Because I am threatening. If I take your knight, it is check. Or check and mate. So you do have to like answer. And it looks like you might lose a bishop. Okay. Oh, thank God. They don't make me prove it. Okay. Well, that's another row of puzzles complete. We did take 2 red X's in that thing, but we did get an extra 10 correct. So I went 10 for 12 on that one. I probably should have had one of those and needed to think a little farther, but this looks like it's just going to be check, I would think. Go to the corner and then the queen will find her way here somehow. Oh, really? Is it check here, check, take here, and then I'm just going to like something. I don't know. That looks probably correct. Probably knight first and then check. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, we're going to think about this one next time. I had fun doing these. I learned a lot. I hope you had fun and learned a lot too. If you liked this content, hit like. If you want to see more of it, hit subscribe. Really helps me out, but it also makes your YouTube experience better. So I will see you next time.